Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dean Polytopoulos. I'm the Public Information Officer of the Yonkers Police Department. I'm joined today by, of course, Mayor Mike Spano, Police Commissioner Chris Sapienza, our elected officials here are Legislator Jimmy Nolan and Councilwoman Corazon Pineda-Isaac. We also have representatives from Motorola Solutions here, including Vice President Dave White, and of course our Deputy Chiefs, Monaco Rice and Campanini. Today we're going to be announcing the unveiling of the Motorola Aware Room. I'm going to kick it off to Mayor Mike Spano to start the press conference, then Commissioner Sapienza will speak, and then Mr. White will speak, and then I'll follow up with a demonstration of the equipment and walk you through what we're doing in the room here today. All right, so Mayor Spano.
Thank you. Thank you. And so with our police commissioner who's here today, the members of the city council who I work with on a regular basis, Jimmy Nolan, who is kind of like a county legislator, but he might as well be part of our team too. He's at every press conference we have. Sure. Our friends from Motorola that are here, and that's very much a part of this big success. You know, today is not just an investment in our police department, but it's certainly a big investment in our community. And again, I want to say thank you to Motorola Solutions. Yonkers remains one of the safest cities of its size in all of America, and what better time for us to announce this is during Police Week, as we pay tribute to our police officers who go out there each and every single day to provide for the safety of our community. This Aware Room allows us to strengthen public safety and to give our police department innovative and modernized tools to help them fight crime and to keep our city safe. The Aware Room will help our department respond more efficiently and effectively to everyday emergencies by giving responders anywhere from the 911 call takers to the command center staff to give them a single view of an incident in real time as it unfolds. That is powerful for us to be able to do that. It brings together video, brings together software, and all the communications. Everything is happening all at once. And so this will enhance the quality of life for our residents because it will be another way for us to keep our community safe as we move forward. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our police commissioner to say a few words. And again, thank you to Motorola. Thanks to the City Council for funding this measure. And certainly thanks to the Yonkers Police Department, especially the men and women in blue who go out there to serve and protect us every single day. And good to see the brass here too. Commissioner. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. I'd like to first thank the mayor for initiating and committing to this project. This is perfect timing with Police Week. I'm going to talk just a little bit about some of the things that the Aware Room can do and does. First and foremost, it's a force multiplier. We're in a world where we have to do more with less, and this allows us to have a little more omnipresence. It allows us to be efficient. It allows us to have a snapshot in real time of what's going on in the community. We also refer to the safety net. It's a safety net of license plate readers, cameras, and other devices. So basically, if you come into the city with the intention of committing a crime, we could track you the whole way through. We could, even if you get away with the crime, if you came back to the city, maybe we catch you later on because we know any time a bad guy is entering in or out of our city. It's a very important tool. Precision policing. You know, we've come to the idea that we want to target the people that are most responsible for crimes. We don't want to harass civilians. We don't want to stop more people to make arrests. So in this case, the Aware Room helps us and contributes to our precision policing package. So when we know who the bad guys are, we know what cars they drive, we know how they got into the city, how they left the city, we start putting together a bigger picture. And it's not arbitrary. It's very important. It's the opposite of broken windows, right? In the past, broken windows, you just stop everyone. In this case, we just focus on people and suspects, and we get the job done. It's proactive versus active. We had a case just a week or so ago where our detectives actually were looking at the aware room screen, or aware room people were looking at the screen and watched the crime unfold right before their eyes. And they were able to get the police there in far less time than if you call the police and if they were dispatched. And that's the whole idea here. The system is actually, we'll go into more specifics of the system, but it could actually detect anomalies on its own. Large groups of people, guns being fired, anything that might be out of place. And it's kind of genned in a way where it notices things that are out of place. You know, there's been a whole progression of policing over the years. It started with police officers on foot posts. Then that later on, you know, the radio came around, and the radio allowed us to be in more places at once. And then cars came along, and then it was, you know, radios and police cars, and then later on helicopters. So the more tools you have to be omnipresent, and the more tools you have to fight crime, the better. So with that, I want to introduce Dave White. He's the Regional Vice President of Motorola Solutions and our partner. And Dave?
Thank you, Commissioner. On behalf of Motorola Solutions, we'd like to thank certainly the mayor and the commissioner for their support. We've been partners with the city of Yonkers for decades. They've been a leader in technology, and this shows another leadership with the step that they're taking with the opening of this aware room. We couldn't be more proud of being on the signage and being part of this room. We know this technology is going to save lives. It's going to help the citizens of Yonkers and certainly the first responders. Commissioner mentioned it's so appropriate that this is Police Week. I'm very proud to be sponsors and part of that Police Week. So thank you again for your partnership. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So what is the aware room, right? So the aware room takes all our technology, all our tools, all the information that's coming in from different data sources out there, and it's bringing it into one location, and we're seeing everything in real time in one place, and it gives us the ability to get information quicker and to get information out quicker and to be able to respond quicker to scenarios and incidents. And there's kind of two parts to that, right? So there's the technology. We have over 300 safety cameras and license plate reader technology devices in the city of Yonkers. I'm sure some of you have seen these cameras on utility poles. You've seen the devices out with over the red light signals, right? So all these devices are giving us information. It's sending us video information. It's sending us information about people's license plates, their registration status, and so forth. And that information is now going to be married with Motorola's Command Central Aware software, right? That's why we're calling this Aware Crime Control Center. So what the Aware software does is it takes all that information and it puts it on a map for us. So we have geospatial mapping. So when a camera picks something up or an LPR, license plate reader, picks something up, it focuses it on a map for us. You hear that little whooping noise behind me. If you look behind me, there's a monitor in the top there. That's an active map that every time you hear that noise, that's a license plate reader triggering an alert that there's an event being recognized, be it a suspended registration or possibly suspicious vehicle or even a stolen car. So all that information is being generated and it's being given to the officers who will be working in this room, right? So what does that mean for the community? What does that mean for the police department? So we get all this information in. To the commissioner's point, he used a very good example. It's a force multiplier. So right now we have approximately 20 police cars on the road. With these cameras, with these LPRs, it's no longer 20 police officers. It's 320 police officers, right? And those cameras are being monitored in a room here, which brings us to the first thing I wanted to show you. So is it possible for 1 or 2 or 3 police officers to monitor 300 cameras? Absolutely not, right? It's information overkill. If you look at the screen on the left behind me, you'll see that there's dozens of cameras posted up there. If you try to sit and focus on those cameras, you wouldn't be able to. You would lose your span of attention of each camera, right? And that's where the technology comes in. So using artificial intelligence in a good way, right? We are leveraging that technology to tell us when something has to be brought to our attention. So how does that work? So these new cameras, this software system is intelligent, and it is able to determine after a period of time what is normal in a certain frame and what is not normal, what is unique or what's remarkable. And when it senses something is out of place, it'll tell us, hey, police officer, you might want to look at this. You might want to check something out. Something's not normal here. So just a very simple example. A safety camera that's in a certain part of the city of Yonkers may recognize that between the hours of 1 a.m. and 4 a.m., I only see 2 cars on this block, right? But now, if it recognizes 10 cars on the block in the same time frame, it may trigger an alert to bring it to our attention, hey, you may need to look at what's going on over here because something is unique, something is remarkable, right? And that's the way we're leveraging AI technology in that respect. But it's also important, I point out, that these are tools that we utilize, right? It's not making decisions for us. The decisions are being left up to the police officers. The decisions are being left up to the humans. So I don't know what's easier for you, if you want me to walk you around the room or if you just want me to point stuff out that's happening. So like if you look on that far left there, right, you'll see some cameras have a turquoise bounding box over certain objects, right? So if you look, for example, on the screen on the right, as you see these bounding boxes, that's telling us that the AI is actively capturing that image, and it's being fed into the computer system, and it's letting us know that if we ever needed to run an analysis against that image, we can, right? And if it recognizes that something is abnormal or something is unique to that scenario, it'll trigger an alert and tell us, hey, you guys should pay attention to what's going on here. And that's how we have the ability to monitor so many cameras, right? So the other important piece of technology that's in this room is our LPR technology, our license plate reader technology. So what you may or may not be familiar with license plate readers, right? In order to have a car in the state of New York, right, you have to be registered. And that information is all public data for the police department. And when you drive through a certain point, we have the ability to capture that on public roads, right? None of this is happening in private spaces or in the privacy of your own home. This is only happening on public roads. We capture that license plate reader, that license plate information, and we immediately run it against our database, right? And that lets us know, is this a wanted vehicle? Is this a stolen vehicle? Is there something going on with this vehicle? And now, why is that important? Going back to the safety, the net that the commissioner was referring to, we know in the city of Yonkers, a lot of our crime is not committed by residents, right? A lot of our crime, and I'll use catalytic converters as an example, we know that people are coming from outside our area, outside our jurisdiction, to commit crimes here. We also know they're not walking here, they're driving here, right? So when we have an incident or a series of events related to catalytic converter theft, for example, we may not catch him that night, right? We'll wake up the next day and we'll get reports of a catalytic converter being stolen. But what we'll do, and what the officers in this room will do in the Crime Control Strategies Unit, is they'll go through that video from the night before, and they'll see a car. And then using that car, they can tell the computer, hey, do me a favor, show me other cars that look like this car. And then the computer, using AI technology, can do what's called an appearance search and identify the cars that look like that car. And then we take it a step further. Hey, show me if cars that look like this car went through any of our LPR readers. And then it can tell you, yes, in fact, this car went through this LPR at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now you have his license plate reader information. Now we know who the registered owner is. Now we have that, and that's how the investigation starts. But more importantly, we can flag that license plate. So the next time it comes into the city, we get the audible alert, right? And we get an email notification that goes out to all our police officers that says, hey, beware, a car suspected of catalytic converter theft has just crossed into the city of Yonkers at Bronx River Road and Yonkers Avenue, for example. Be on the alert. And our police officers will then go canvass for that vehicle, and if they find that vehicle, they'll take an enforcement action. And that's one of the reasons why we have been so successful in that type of enforcement. Now extrapolate that, right? It's not just catalytic converter thefts. It's other types of violence. It's property thefts. It's gang violence. It's domestic incidents, right? There is so much information out there, be it license plates, be it cell phones, be it all these different things. And what this technology now does, it lets us leverage all these cameras, leverage all these tools, put them together in one room, right? Run data analytics against them, and lets us really laser focus on who our problems are, who the bad guys are, and then we go after them. And 99 times out of 100, the majority of the people in the community don't even see it, don't even know what's going on. And that's what we want, right? We want to address these problems in a safe way and in a way that's not impacting everybody else that we're with. right? So that's just two examples of what's going on here. If you look over to the far right screen over there, you'll see other monitors with displays. The one on the left is an example of active license plate reader hits in the region. The middle display is our active hits here in the city of Yonkers. The screen on the right is incidents that occur in real time. So for example, once our new computer-aided dispatch system is in place, which is going to happen in the near future, and Sam, I might ask you to actually do a demo for this if you don't mind. Once all our technology is built out, right, because this is still a project in progress, once all our technology is built out, ultimately the goal is when somebody calls 911 and reports a crime incident in the city of Yonkers, as soon as our 911 dispatchers enter that information into the computer, it will trigger an alert in this room, and that alert will automatically activate all the cameras in that area and bring up all relevant information about that incident instantaneously, right? And ultimately, that's the goal. And what does that do for us? What does that do for public safety? It lightning speed the amount of information that we get in an instant, and it gives us the ability to then give that information to the police officer on the street. Because right now, what happens? Somebody calls 911, they talk to another human, they report a crime, that crime gets entered in, and then it gets dispatched out by voice. The reality is when somebody calls 911, especially if it's from a cell phone, there may be anywhere between 3 to a 7-minute delay before the police on the street gets the information and gets out there. With this technology, we're hoping to cut that in half. And that's ultimately the goal. Now, I can stand here and talk about all these different technologies all day long, but I think probably what's best to do is, Sam, does anyone want to see a demonstration of how any of the cameras work or how any of the other items work? I'm more than happy to put anything on display for you. I know your cameras are set up over there, so if you let me know what's easier for you. Okay. So what he's going to show you right now is using an example of what you were talking about before, about some of the AI technology. So pick a random car, and I'll ask the computer to search for random cars like that.
So look for this red car right here.
So what it does, it's literally just taking that image of a red car, and now it's bringing you all similar images of that car, and then it also tells us the date, time, location, and then we can also connect that to our LPR system and find out where in the area that car has been located. So what all this is this, right, this is information. This is information gathering. We have information coming in from all these different sources, and all this information combined, and with AI technology and the ability to have access to it to our fingertips, it really allows us to find what we're looking for efficiently and effectively, and allows us to direct our resources to go after the people who are committing crime in our city. And it's all about public safety.
So essentially, as the lieutenant was speaking about earlier, what this system is, we refer to this as Command Central Aware, and what it's doing is it's taking multiple data sources as well as video sources and basically marrying it up with their computer-aided dispatch system. What you see here is the flow of information that's coming in from 911 calls, from different types of alarms. It could be LPR hits. It could be something that the video cameras are picking up. And it's taking that information and it immediately displays it on the map, depending on the level of importance. The police department determines this is a minor traffic accident versus an armed robbery. It gives it a level of priority and it places it on the map. And depending on the rules engine and the artificial intelligence that's built into here, it'll do a number of different things. Like, for example, pull up the closest video camera to that incident. What you see here is footage from a drone. And the police department is going to be doing a pilot program utilizing drones as a first responder later on in the summer. That's going to be an important piece and an important function as to what occurs here in the aware rooms. But let me show you some other examples of how they're going to be utilizing this. So let's take a call that comes in, an armed robbery call, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through this manually. Keep in mind, the artificial intelligence does this automatically on its own. But let's walk through it. So an armed robbery call comes in.
And this is our goal. This is what we're going to have in the very near future.
So an armed robbery call comes in, and because that's considered very high priority, it's automatically gonna center that call. I can immediately see on the map here that there are a number of video cameras that are nearby. It's gonna automatically, because it's a high priority call, it's gonna automatically open up those cameras. Up to 16 cameras that they can pull in. And depending on the location of the incident, it's gonna pull up those nearest cameras to that incident. So in other words, what the system is doing is giving the police officers that are assigned into this room immediate eyes on the scene so that they can relay this information to the officers who are responding to the incident. This all occurs within a matter of seconds rather than minutes as the call is coming in through dispatch.
Yeah, and it's very helpful to us because oftentimes, just by human nature, sometimes the initial reports, right, the initial descriptions are sometimes wrong, right? Somebody, hears a backfire, calls in a shots fired, or vice versa. Having immediate access to surveillance cameras, to safety cameras in the area, we have the accurate information instantaneously.
Let's take another call, what was mentioned earlier, also the protection and the safety of the officers is paramount. So as you may be aware, Yonkers Police Department within the last year or so went to the body-worn cameras for all of their police officers. In addition, later in the future, they will be installing in-car videos. So let's take an incident in which an officer has an emergency type of situation. Through Aware, what they're going to have the ability to do is, based on that emergency signal, immediately center it on the map. On the map, I can see where my nearest police units are. I can see there's also cameras here, not just from body-worns, but also nearby building cameras. And what it's going to do, based on that emergency signal, it's going to automatically pull in the feed from the vehicle. It's going to pull up the feed from nearby buildings that have a partnership with the police department. And also footage from, this is a backup unit coming to assist that officer from the body-worn camera, as well as from the vehicle. And you can see here, so this way, officers and supervisors in the Aware room have immediate eyes on the scene to know what's going on with that officer.
So again, think of all the different data sources, information. Think of all the devices you have in your own lives, right? Cell phones, TVs, fire sticks, all these different things. Imagine if you had the ability for all these electronic devices, all these connected devices, to have all that data feed into one place, and you can act on it, right? And act on it for the benefit of public safety, and that's what we're doing. We're taking all that electronic information that lives out in the world, and we're centralizing it here, and we're doing good with it. And that's a general summary, as to what the abilities of this room are. Obviously, if there's any more questions, we're more than happy to answer them for you. No? All right, thank you.